I'm going to start with a blank document with the same specs as I've given you guys and kind of talk through why I'm putting things certain places and what sort of things I'm thinking about as I'm just beginning the actual design aspect. So I know it is a half page, which is usually a setting. So I've chosen letter half. I do want facing pages, and there's going to be 8 of them. I want an 1/8 inch of bleed. That's pretty typical. My margins I'll end up setting on my master page, but my columns I typically start with 3, and I like to work in 1/16 or 1/8 of an inch rather than like the default whatever InDesign wants me to work with. So, and I'm just going to leave the title as it is. I'm not concerned with that right now. All right. So with the numbering and section options, I would go ahead and start doing that and using that for my headlines. So I know that page 3, let's go back to the requirements. Pages 2 to 3 is going to be the about. So do you remember how to bring up your numbering options and section options? Gonna right click and it'll be one of the options here. You could also get to it from the little flyout menu here. I use right click for a lot because it's just easier and takes less time. So numbering and section options, I'm starting on page 2, starting a section. I'm gonna leave the page numbering at automatic, and then I would just change my section marker. So I would probably just change it to about, since both of these pages are gonna be about. So page 4, I would change to whatever my first game is. So in mine, I believe it's Mega Man. Then page 5 would be Link to the Past, if I could type. Just going through and naming these what they should be. So my page 6, let me double check. It's going to be about this charity and then donation form for the other. So about this charity. And then donate. All right. So I'm going to go to my master page and start laying out the elements that I know I'm going to be using. So I know that I'm going to have my page numbers. So I'm going to grab my type tool. You can click on it or use keyboard shortcuts. I use keyboard shortcuts for everything because it just makes things easier to work with. So I've created my little text frame down there. I'm going to insert my page number. So I'm going up to type, insert special character, and a page number is a sort of marker, so it's going to be under markers. And I'll grab that. And I'm just going to alt click and drag and put it on the next page. And I want to change the alignment, so it's going to be away from the spine. So I also know that I'm going to want my headlines. So I'm going to create a text box for that. And I want my headlines to be what my numbering and section options are. That way it automatically fills that box for me and I don't have to worry about having to type things multiple times, or if a section changes, I can change it in my numbering and section options rather than having to override a master item. So to do that, we'll go back up to type because we want to insert some kind of type. So we're going to special character and markers once again, and we're going to be putting in a section marker. So I'm going to drag that over here as well. So just quick design decisions. I'm thinking I'll just have everything kind of aligning away from the spine. Not always a good design decision, but just for the purposes of this demonstration. So I'm going to set my headline type. Let's just do Courier bold and make it reasonably hefty. I'm going to change that to optical, and I want to pull in my tracking a little bit. So I like that. I kind of want my page numbers to look the same, so I'm going to choose that same type. I'm just typing in the name of the font that I want. I don't want these to be huge, but do want them to be pretty noticeable. So I have those set up. I'm pretty sure that some of my headlines will go on 2 lines, so I'll leave the size about that big. So now I'm going to have what my actual body copy is going to be. So created 2 text boxes, and I'm going to link them together, so that's not something that I have to worry about doing individually. So to link, I have this text frame active. I'm going to click on the little out port here, and then click just inside the other frame. And you can see the little triangle there. It's saying, hey, these are linked up. So I can start adding like different graphics. Like I usually would have like something to kind of, as I say, pull stuff together. So if I wanted this to look kind of like a pipe, I would maybe choose a gradient. And it's applying it to the stroke because I had the stroke selected. So let's go to the fill. Gonna choose my gradient, pull that to the center, and then I'm grabbing black and dragging down there too. So it doesn't quite look like a pipe. I'm changing the angle, and that's kind of better. That feels a little more Mario pipe-like. So, and then maybe I would want to have a similar sort of feel for my page numbers. So I'm gonna make that shorter but fatter. Pull that up. I'm making sure that all of these elements that are touching the edge are going all the way to this red line outside. That's where I set my bleed up. And to make my pipe, I'm just using shapes. I'm just using gradients, kind of making it quick and dirty. I don't want to spend too much time on things like that. So I'm going to group that together, send it to the back. Maybe instead of coming up, I'll have it coming out. So pull that. Over there. Then I'm going to do the same thing over here. And I would be measuring all of this and making sure that my x-axis were lining up together, but this is, again, just for the sake of demonstration. So that's just real quick. I haven't really done much, but now I can go to my page 2. About is already set up. Page numbers are already set up. My headlines are set up for everything that I need. So then I can just start dropping in the text and styling it how I would want it. I would recommend using paragraph styles if you can. I know we haven't gone over them in depth and how to apply them. We'll be doing that when we come back from spring break. But if you want to look ahead in the book, or if you want to kind of play around on your own to make that a little easier for yourself, go for it. Totally recommend it. But just kind of thinking about like your sketches, what you've done, the different elements that you've done, try to think of like the simplest way to do it. Because like, yeah, I want an underline, I want something that's going to go across or whatever. I could find a graphic and kind of fiddle with that, or just take a look and be like, you know, the pipes in Mario are just a gradient, and I can totally do that. So it's it takes a little bit of thinking to make yourself break stuff down to shapes and gradients and colors and whatever, but it can really help speed up your workflow so it's not something that kind of trips you up when you come to it. So is this helpful? Does this kind of take a little bit of the what do I do when I open this file thing away? Okay, cool. And I'll do this more when we get to the menu as well, because the menu is going to be a different sort of beast. Like booklets and brochures are definitely very different types of layouts and a different way of approaching it. And of course, the poster will be different too. So, huzzah, we're not too late. That's it for today. Your projects are due tomorrow by 10 p.m. If you are having trouble with anything, please email me and let me know. If there's anything going on, you need an extension or anything like that, willing to work with you, let me know. And I look forward to taking a look at everything and seeing where you all end up. So thanks, have a good weekend. I will see you on Tuesday when we go through lesson 8, which will be looking at how color works in InDesign.